We're live. We are live. Let's get on Spaces. On this phone. All right. We're live. Stephen, just need to get on Spaces here. All right. Request sent. Requested. You ready? Give us 1 second. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Mario. I'm sitting right here. And yes, I can, James.
All right. Hey, Alex. Hey, Mario. Hey, everyone. We are on the inside with James O'Keefe. Sorry for the few minutes of delay. This is a 30-minute video, and we're going to play the top clips here. Inside the CIA, insider blows whistle on executive staff at CIA headquarters. This is a really unbelievable recording, talking about withholding information from the president. This guy, a project manager, cyber operations, Central Intelligence Agency, works for Deloitte as a contractor, has a green badge. The green badge indicates that he is a contractor with the CIA. That's what those green badges mean. And, you know, some breaking news, too. We just got a statement from the CIA, which we're going to be playing for you today. I spoke on the phone with the press secretary, a person named Chelsea Robinson, Office of Public Affairs. I don't know what's more crazy, what's more wild, the fact that what this video shows, the fact that the press secretary for the CIA got on the phone with me and gave me a statement. That should tell you how serious this is. We also have corroborating reporting regarding Michael Schellenberger's and Matt Taibbi's piece about how the CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump. There's just so much to unpack here. We have 2 hours. I'm going to play the top 3 minutes for those of you listening, for those of you tuning in on all of our social media. We're going to play the first 3 minutes of this recording, and then we're going to get reaction from a few different people, from lawmakers, from Alex Jones, from Matt Gaetz, from many more people. Here we go.
I do cyber operations. I've been doing it for a long time.
So how long have you been working at the CIA?
Since 2008.
Okay.
I also worked at NSA too. And then I had a TSSCI with a full scope polygraph. That means that I'm fully vetted.
Amjad Fasisi shows her his CIA identification badge.
So where does it say?
Does it?
Hey, that's the point.
That's the point.
What's CMC?
China Mission Center.
So I'm just going to pause right there. He's showing the undercover journalist his CMC badge. What does that mean? Chinese Mission Center. One of the divisions in the CIA, sort of like Iran Mission Center, Counterterrorism Mission Center, South and Central Asian Center, Chinese Mission Center, Russian Mission Center. This guy works in the Chinese Mission Center, and he's got the lanyard with CMC on it, the green badge indicating he works for the intelligence community. And protocol is when you are fired or leave, this is according to Kash Patel, who is Deputy Director of National Intelligence, they actually have to return that to the agency or destroy it. So this guy was employed with the CIA as of last week. And that's important for reasons we'll talk about in a moment.
Gotcha.
Amjad talks about how the CIA kept information from Trump.
Like working.
We kept information from him.
Say one more time.
We kept information from him.
From Trump?
Yes. He's an idiot. There are certain people that would give him a high-level overview but never give us any details. Do you know why? This whole leak to his details.
Amjad Fasisi. So there he is saying we only gave him a high-level overview, not details, for fear of the president leaking those details. Of course, do they do this with all presidents is one question that we have. We have many questions. States higher-ups within the intel community, including CIA directors Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel, and the upper levels of their staffs colluded to withhold information from sitting President Trump.
So the agencies kind of like all got together and said, we're not going to tell Trump.
The higher-ups.
The higher-ups.
We put it this way. The executive staff, given by the director and his subordinates.
Like, what titles are they? They're
Director of the CIA.
director of the CIA would keep.
Yes.
Are you guys still watching him?
I would say yes.
It sounds like you guys are still watching him and his team.
Of course we are. Nothing goes by without somebody watching.
Nothing goes by, says the program manager at the Chinese Mission Center in Langley, Virginia, flashing his green intelligence badge in front of the undercover reporter, saying that they are currently spying on Trump. He also mentions that they're spying on Trump's ex-wife. We assume he means Maples. We assume that's the person he's referring to.
Amjad Fasisi also states as fact that Trump is under constant surveillance and even claims they are spying on his ex-wife.
And we also have people that monitor his ex-wife.
So you guys had human sources,
How do you think we got information?
like wiretapping? Is that
Steal it.
how did you guys figure out that Trump was colluding with the Russians? Did you guys use
It's just human intelligence.
so the intel community was able to use FISA to spy on Trump and his team, and that's how we found out that he was colluding with the Russians. Was it the CIA or the NSA that spied on Trump?
So it should be all of them.
So you're saying that your agency,
All
CIA.
a lot of the agencies, he's not going to get re-elected again. I've done the math. That's impossible.
Amjad Fasisi, if you're just tuning in, you're watching a breaking story inside the CIA. This guy was employed by the CIA as of like last week. Project manager, cyber operations, Central Intelligence Agency. He's a contractor through Deloitte. And you might be saying, well, he's just a contractor. Well, Edward Snowden was just a contractor for the NSA. Half of the people that work in that facility are contracted, the so-called green badges, saying, quote, Trump's not going to get reelected. He's done the math. It's not going to happen.
We have a choice here. Do we have a democracy or do we have some fucking madman?
Yeah.
He wants to be a dictator.
Does it say the CIA on your LinkedIn?
No.
That's interesting. He asks, does it say the CIA on your LinkedIn? Do we have a LinkedIn? Do we have the screenshot up? Do we have that in the piece? I think I just passed it in the video. Let me go back to this. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see here in this video, there it is, his LinkedIn account. He does say he works for Deloitte presently, but when asked why he doesn't have the CIA listed on his LinkedIn, well, that should be common sense, but here's what he says.
Does it say the CIA on your LinkedIn?
He says, fuck no, we can't do that. Begs the question, he can't list it on his website, but he can openly gloat and brag about it to strangers in restaurants. It's one of the many contradictions in this whole situation. There's a lot to unpack here. This is very fascinating.
And then I was at NSA for a year.
Okay.
And I was doing some really cool cyber stuff, which I cannot tell you about. Through the Office of Director of National Intelligence.
It's a little hard to hear there. He's saying, I've done some really cool cyber stuff at the NSA, which I can't talk to you about. I went to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. He's recounting all of the places that he's worked for.
So I helped them stand up inside our threat program. They trusted me to set that up.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
I don't have anyone to tell.
He says, just don't tell anybody. I mean, this guy looks like a Saturday Night Live sketch of a CIA guy.
Again, this conversation didn't happen.
Of course.
I didn't strictly deny it.
This conversation didn't happen. I didn't strictly deny it. And this is a 30-minute long video, and I think we're going to go get some immediate reactions, followed by some breaking statements that we've got in writing from the press secretary. Alex Jones, are you there?
Yes, James. I just want to commend you and your team for just continuing to do incredible work. I've never been able to say on air what your biggest coup has been. I mean, we had to say one. It was the Pfizer head of mRNA admitting they make viruses to roll them out against the public. But what I'm about to say does not take away from your report. It actually adds credibility because you can have documents, you can have statements, but to have an admission is so important. So first off, if you look it up, 80% of the CIA's operations are through contractors, so that Congress has trouble in oversight. As you said, half the people at Langley are contractors. So the fact they go, oh, this guy's a contractor, that means absolutely nothing. We had an actual CIA operative a few months ago that got caught on tape admitting that I was being targeted. It didn't matter whether he was an actual, CIA operative or a contractor. The point is that they were inside the operation, and this guy was in some of the most key areas. But here's the bombshell I'm going to lay out. Because I remember back when Trump first won the election, my sources inside the Secret Service and the CIA said, listen, Trump's been spied on, you've been spied on. The Judge Arpaio, through his DEA contacts, he'd been high-level DEA previously, got a secret list of who was being spied on. But when I got it, it had a phone number of my office phone that I almost never even used, and my old cell phone and my new cell phone. I was on the list being spied on. So here's the key. I just did a quick search right before we went live. Wall Street Journal. This is February 15, 2017. Spies keep intelligence from Trump. Decision to withhold information underscores deep mistrust between the intelligence community and the president. So that's Wall Street Journal. Here is CBS News. Harry Reid, CIA should give Donald Trump fake intelligence briefings. 2016. Okay, so this is what's going on, and you can pull up dozens of these. So that's just confirming what this guy is saying, and that there's been an ongoing coup against the people America elected the first time, and who I believe they stole the election from the second time, and who was in the lead the third time, and who they're trying with lawfare and all these indictments to keep from us happening. The Supreme Court had to override them, taking him off the ballot in places like Colorado and Maine. So there is an ongoing coup. But this is someone on video that adds a whole other dimension and is perfect for Congress to haul this traitor in, and people like Gavin Oblivis of the CIA and formerly FBI to haul them in for congressional hearings. I know most of Congress is intimidated. It's come out. Congress admits they're being spied on by the CIA. The CIA is the biggest intelligence agency in the U.S. under the National Security Act 1947. So they're the mothership. But he also talks about how he works with the NSA because they dovetail and interlock like Russian dolls into all of this. And I just want to hear your take, on President Trump and what his reaction is going to be. We need to get him behind this. Elon Musk, who's been targeted by the deep state, needs to respond. Obviously, we can't just take a huge win like this and just let it be a blip. This has got to be a major story. This is the story of the century so far, in the first 24 years of this century and this new millennia. If we all make this huge, that's what I put out, myself, maximum coverage in InfoWars, maximum coverage of Real Health Shows. I've told all my crew, please promote this. They're like, absolutely. They realize how important this is, but when they attack you, James, as you know, you can say, well, funny, Senator Schumer said the intelligence agencies have 6 ways for Sonny to get after you. We know they did that, and so they would love to brag at the time. And I remember Brennan on TV saying, don't worry, we'll remove him soon, right before the 2020 election. So this is a coup against America, and they've admitted they're doing this, but then later they deny it. The media brags from their sources, but then they pull back and deny it later. It's like Comey saying, well, to Congress dozens of times, I never leaked. Then later when he got caught, he said, well, I leaked to the press, they leaked. Or I leaked to a head of a political science or media group at a college, a university that he leaked. So this brings up everything they've done, what's been admitted, but ties it all together and gives them names of who to haul in before Congress. So this is one of the most important stories that I've seen in my lifetime. Undoubtedly the biggest story you've ever broken, if we give it the legs right now.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And this is the Senator Schumer clip.
They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. Take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
Take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways. I don't know what Schumer means by that. We're not taking them on. We're reporting on them. And speaking of that, Alex, we have breaking news, everyone. And this might be probably the most unbelievable thing that I've ever seen in my entire career as a citizen journalist. Again, I'm not a New York Times reporter. I'm not a credentialed journalist. I'm not a respected journalist. I don't go on CNN. I'm not invited. I would be happy to go on CNN. But this is a statement from Chelsea, what's her last name? Chelsea Robinson, press secretary for the CIA. This is breaking news. We've gotten a statement today. This is actually, 2 hours ago? An hour ago? Thanks for reaching out to the CIA. I'm reading this from the email. Thanks for reaching out to the CIA's Office of Public Affairs. I didn't even know the CIA had a press secretary. We learn something every day. We're glad to look into your inquiry. What's your deadline? We responded. Our deadline's 5 o'clock. So she responded, And I have a statement here. I'm going to read it to you over the air. Quote, hold on. So nice speaking to you. These claims about the CIA are absolutely false and ridiculous. CIA is a resolutely apolitical institution that provides intelligence support to policymakers, including the President of the United States, irrespective of who occupies the office. We are a foreign intelligence-focused agency and do not monitor the former president. The individual making these allegations is a former contractor, who does not represent the CIA, former contractor. What's interesting about that is that as of last week, he was a contracted CIA officer. So O'Keefe Media Group reporting that the CIA has fired him in the last 48 hours. We sent the transcripts over today. Again, going back to this green badge thing, apparently you got to give it in. So, Alex, your response to what are your thoughts on that statement and the CIA terminating this individual?
I have mega key intel because I'm not whining. Just like O'Keefe, I've been a victim of this. Before I hit that, let me just point out, did everybody notice the last 7 days, the massive attack? Because I follow OMG Media. I check it every day, but I couldn't not find it in my email, on X, on Instagram, on Google. It was everywhere how bad James O'Keefe is and how terrible he is and what a demon he is. Some of them former federal agents. So they're obviously monitoring you. They're monitoring everybody. They've done this, and their claim the CIA doesn't operate domestically is preposterous. Obama appealed and repealed major laws barring the CIA from domestic propaganda 10 years ago. So that's all there. And you can also play the clip. I'm sure you're good at finding it. Anybody can find it quickly. Remember, Pompeo says, we're taught at West Point not to lie, cheat, or steal. But the first thing you learn at the CIA is how to lie and how to deceive and how to steal. So, and your big report focuses on this being directed by Pompeo, which from my sources, we know is absolutely a traitor. So their fast response, they normally don't respond to something, shows their desperation, and then their outright denial, okay, he doesn't work here now. Yeah, we fired him today, or a few days ago when they were monitoring O'Keefe. So there's just so much happening and swarming around here. This is so massive, and it's time for Congress, not just Gates or not just Paul, but a few others to grow some testicles and go up against this.
Well, who's on the Intelligence Committee? I mean, can the Intelligence Committee hold them accountable, or are they a proxy for the Central Intelligence Agency?
Well, if you look at people like McCall and others, they are the worst of the worst. And yeah, I mean, they've stacked it with their operatives, but you can have other committees can raise this. It's time to cut their funding. People say, well, just abolish them. Well, yeah, that's how you do it, is we have rogue agencies that have basically hijacked the country. And I don't want to take these guys on, but I'm an American citizen. I mean, I'm just a populist. I'm just a pundit. I'm just a father. And I am sick and tired of the things they're involved in. And it's time, to stand up against it. This is how all the third world countries collapsed. This is how Rome collapsed, was when their own Praetorian Guard decides to take over and destroy the trust they're supposed to have. The National Security Act gave the CIA total secrecy. And even Harry Truman, years after he allowed it to be created, said I should never have done it. It should be abolished. JFK said it should be abolished, and he got his head blown off in Dallas, and his brother got killed. And we know the CIA had their fingerprints all over it. So it's a rogue group working for special interest. You got Brennan that converted to Islam on record, the former head of it. And again, bragging about coups they were going to stage against Trump before the 2020 election. And again, find that clip of Pompeo says the CIA lies, cheats, and steals. That's when he's on C-SPAN to a group of intelligence operatives hooping and hollering and laughing, just like Brennan did a C-SPAN show before they stole the election in 2020. And he's going, "Don't worry, we'll get him. We run this country." And they all start cheering. These people's arrogance will be their undoing. And thank God you caught them on tape spilling their guts, haul his ass before Congress, and Gavin O'Blevis and the rest of them.
So this is that clip, Alex, of him talking about Gina Haspel and Mike Pompeo, both directors of the CIA during the Trump presidency. Let's listen to this one again.
Mike Pompeo was working with the heads of the other intel agencies.
Mike Pompeo was a director of the CIA.
Right, and he was working with the heads of the other intel agencies
That's
to
correct.
to withhold information from Trump.
His predecessor, Gina Haspel, did.
So Gina was the one who withheld information from Trump.
And I believe Mike Pompeo did the same thing too.
Mike Pompeo did the same thing.
I believe so.
Amjad Fasisi states as fact that Trump would call Putin and tell him secret intelligence information.
He would give it away.
Yeah.
He would call Vladimir Putin and tell him, have it done. No, I'm being serious. You asked me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to give you a simplistic answer, but he's a fucking man.
So you think Gina and Mike Pompeo worked with the heads of the other
I believe so. I mean,
to withhold information from Trump?
Yeah.
So he's saying there that Mike Pompeo, Gina Haspel withheld information from Trump. You know, a lot of the spying stuff he talks about, like I said, corroborates the bombshell Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi report from February. Foreign allies spy on the Trump team. But they had anonymous sources, and I think a lot of people say, well, we already know this. First of all, A, not everybody already knows this. I think you would agree with me how many Americans actually are paying attention. And B, even if you do know this, because Alex, is that what your audience said? People say, I already know this. Well, first of all, most of you are like 1% of the population. And second of all, even if you do know this, I think the imagery and the intonation and the cadence and the greed and the avarice and the narcissism and the evil in the guy's eyes, it really tells a story, which is why I think these images are so important. And that's why maybe the CIA is responding to us, Alex. I've never seen anything like it.
No, absolutely. Look, yeah, we have all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, but this puts it together and has one of them bragging, and that's what the public responds to it exactly. My audience, your audience, they're great people, and most of them get this is important. But 30, 40% are like, well, we already know this. Well, yeah, we're not in an echo chamber. Just because you know how to swim when you're 15 doesn't mean your 3-year-old knows how. You've got to teach him. And so it's our job to realize that we're not insular and arrogant and territorializing this information. It's our job because we're awake and informed, which is great. I commend those folks to then reach out to others because now they're ready. But notice what he says to your undercover. He says Trump was giving all the intel away to the Russians. Well, under the Constitution, he's the head of the executive. He can declassify anything he wants when he wants. Kennedy on the phone with Khrushchev, Eisenhower on the phone with those guys would tell them what they thought was important and what they needed to know to make a deal. So the president has that power. Here's these bureaucrats, these CIA self-appointed gods of America saying, oh, Trump would give away intel when he talked to the Russians. But wait, then Milley, though, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, called up the Chinese, and this came out before it was even he admitted it, and said, don't worry, Trump's not in control of the military, I am. And don't worry, no matter what you do, you invade Taiwan, we won't respond. That's treason. The president is endowed by us via our vote and the Constitution. If he wanted to call and tell the Chinese, don't worry, you can invade Taiwan. But he wouldn't do that. Then we could impeach him, and he should be impeached. He didn't do that. Milley calls up on the Chinese payroll. We know he is the Communist, the Democratic Party, all these operatives, and that's really Trump's failure. Was bringing these traitors in. So Trump can't call Putin and say, I want to make a deal. But notice no wars under Trump, even though it's his prerogative under law in his office. But Milley can say, don't worry, Trump's not really the president, just like the Wall Street Journal. Just like the Wall Street Journal and Harry Reid and all of them said, don't worry, we're not giving him intelligence briefings. Or I found a new one, we're going to give him fake intelligence briefings. So their arrogance, again, is their undoing. They have confessed to this, but Congress is bullied and whipped by the CIA and by the Justice Department. Why isn't James O'Keefe whipped? Why isn't Trump whipped? Because we realize that if we keep being whipped, living on our knees is slavery. I'd rather die on my feet to be a slave. But in my experience, you live on your feet, you die on your knees as a slave. And that's why this story is so important, James.
Thank you, Alex. And we're going to go to Eric. Alex, you have to run. You got to run. If you want to stand by, you can. Eric Cochran is on.
I'll stay a little while.
Okay.
I'm listening. Thank you.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to Eric Cochran, who broke that Oblinus story. That was the FBI contractor. Get Eric Cochran's reaction. I actually spoke directly with this man's name is Amjad Fasisi, top secret security clearance. So it's called a TS. Is it SCI or CSI? SCI, which means sensitive compartmentalized information. Most of the people that work there have such a thing, but top secret security clearance. And I actually have a audio recording of me talking to this man, James O'Keefe, talking to him, real name. I got his comment, which I'm going to play, and I also do my follow-up, which we have a full video of that. I also have audio of me talking on the phone to the press secretary of the CIA. I can't believe. I don't know what's more crazy, this video or the fact that they're talking to me. It's very rarely you get a reaction, let alone a comment from the institution to me, and that should tell you that.
Just interrupt, James. They are scared.
And that should tell you the sorry state of journalism, because I mean, it's. I granted the story's only been out 1 hour. It's how many views does it have so far? Let's see. It's got 1 million views, 15,000 likes. I mean, you're looking at the total breakdown in media. Eric Cochran and I have been working together for 5 years. He's on the show. Eric himself was attacked by various people that we know in common after he did that story. It's almost like Eric Cochran, and I don't want to focus on the critics. I want to focus on the news of this, but I also want to, I think that the critics are kind of an existential crisis, because people are attacking you and me, and the government's been attacking you and me. We were both raided by the feds. And I guess the question is, what is your response to this new breaking development inside the CIA?
Well, thank you, James. Yeah, this is amazing. First of all, I want to say congratulations to you and to your undercover journalist, because it seems that this is somebody who probably went through your American Swiper program.
Yes.
So amazing citizen journalism there. More people should do that. You know, get more people going out there in D.C. and exposing these people. Huge. And yeah, it's amazing. Now here we have 2 CIA employees, you know, within a couple weeks, spilling the beans, bragging about these things in the open. One of the first things that struck me about it is the guys saying, you know, oh, we can we hid all this information from Trump, blah blah blah. Here's how we did it. Well, like I wonder how that applies to the current president. Are they hiding information from the current president? Why or why not too?
Yeah, that's true. It's like, don't they hide information from every president? And is that illegal? Is the question. In terms of that laws, we got legal counsel to give us some guidance on the laws that are being possibly broken here. We have obstruction of justice by deception. We have conspiracy to obstruct, false statements. The false statements one we're very familiar with. Agency regulations also provide offenses related to insubordination, reflecting poorly on the agency in public, et cetera, et cetera. Like the fact this guy is just showing his badge, I've heard from sources, is like crazy.
So good by the undercover journalist to get the badge, and you know the guy just hands it over. You know, people love to talk about themselves. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she should credit. I know that you're listening, undercover reporter. She's really good. I mean, and Eric, you know what's interesting is that like we used to hire W-2 employees to go undercover, and none of them had experience, and now it's like I think that the cream rises to the top, crowdsourcing out the information.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, you know, ultimately the president is their boss. You know, this is an executive agency, so they should not be lying to the president. It seems that this would be illegal. I wonder if they're, I wonder like how many presidents they've done this to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I throw something in real quick?
Yeah.
Because listen to you guys, this has blown me away. James is absolutely right. So is Eric. Ladies and gentlemen, you lie to the FBI, it's a federal crime. You lie to the president, it's a federal crime. When you're a federal agent, think of the sabotage. That's what foreign enemies do in intelligence, is they feed disinformation to our government. Here's the CIA, and it's not just this whistleblower, not just this huge leak that's so massive. They admitted they were feeding Trump false information. That means the elected person who is the executive, it's totally criminal. But again, the Justice Department won't charge him, obviously, but we've got to convict him in the court of public opinion. So that's just so amazing. But goes back to what James just said about 10 minutes ago. They are so scared they just responded within 1 hour.
Yeah, I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I think some of the reporting done by Eric Cochran here and my team in the last 6 months, probably some of the best visuals ever. The Pfizer story, people are talking about that as the biggest. Pfizer did respond, took them a day or two. They responded before I even released this story. I didn't even publish it, which is, you know, it's kind of, that might be traditional at the New York Times. It's very unusual in my case.
speaks to the strength of the story, frankly. I mean, they responded that fast.
Yeah, let me go to this audio from, this is 23. I recognize everyone, this is a 30-minute video. I try to, listen, we have to get comment from these people. It's the ethical, it's the right thing to do to put their comment in the story. And I did that talking, this is James O'Keefe, me, on the record, in front of this guy outside of a restaurant on the street. This was actually 2 days ago. Asking him for comment, and it's a little hard to hear, and I will repeat it for those of you on the radio. Here we go. Review your badge, and this the one that you that says you work for the CIA. And you know, Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi did some reporting about the information that was held from Trump. It's actually a crime for the director of the CIA to withhold information from Trump.
I have no idea. Everything is unbeknownst to me.
So he's saying there, quote, this is his reaction to me, his comment. This is the guy that's caught on tape. It's not, I have no idea. Everything I said is unbeknownst to me.
I have no intel.
I have no knowledge, no intel.
Quote, keep information from him.
I then quoted him. I did not yet show him the video, but I'm quoting him from the video. You said we keep information from the president.
Trump. You didn't say that.
He denies saying what he said, so he's denying using the words that he said. That's pretty common. People lying like that. Let's continue.
And at least he didn't run down the street like they normally do.
Well, you know, the reason he didn't run yet, is because I didn't whip out the camera. I was just having a conversation with him. The camera was about, 20, 30, 40 yards away, and we were just talking, much like we did 1 or 2 times before with the New York Times reporters.
Quote, we kept information from Trump. He's a fucking idiot, quote unquote. Those are your words.
Well, I can have an opinion, but I don't know.
Can I talk? Can I sit down and talk to you for a minute about this, please? I think it's important that I get your comment.
Everything is untrue.
Everything is untrue. He said, well, that's actually not true that everything he said is untrue. Many things in these videos actually checks out. For example, he says that Trump uses a burner phone. Other sources tell me that is correct. He tells me about the fact that he works for Chinese Mission Center. That's correct. He tells me a lot of things in this video that are true, and he says it so matter-of-factly, so resolutely, and so repeatedly. It's untrue.
I don't know. I have no idea. Why would I know?
Why would you know? Do you work at CIA?
At this point, I asked this man, again, if you're just tuning in, this is James O'Keefe, airing the breaking bombshell report of the official, never caught anything like this ever on tape before, CIA high security contractor, not high security, what do they call it? Top secret clearance, SCI, contractor with Deloitte, NSA, National Intelligence, CIA. I'm asking him, sir, do you work for the CIA? And he says in response to that, and by the way, I kind of empathize with him in one regard, that he really can't answer my questions. He can't answer them. But let's see what he says.
It's untrue.
I don't know. I have no idea. Why would I know?
Why would you know? Do you work at CIA?
I can't tell you that.
He says, I can't tell you that. Well, that makes sense.
Do you work at Deloitte?
Yes.
Okay.
And he confirms that he works for Deloitte. We've actually reached out to Deloitte for comment. Have we received a response from Deloitte? I think we got a response from Deloitte, didn't we? Well, guys, I think we're going to get back to you. I think Deloitte has given us a response, but there's multiple Deloittes. There's Deloitte, there's federal Deloitte, and there's some other Deloitte. There's a bunch of Deloitte. So we're waiting for you on the...
It's Deloitte, too. It's their main cutout group. I just want to say one thing here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're a tough guy, and you don't make a big deal out of this. People need to pray for you. They need to financially support you. You have been arrested. You have been raided. You've been targeted. So has the other fellow that's on that exposed the CIA operation against me. People need to not get complacent and just see these incredible coups against tyranny and not take it serious. And, these guys think they're invincible. They are not invincible. This is God's work, folks. We need to celebrate this. We need to realize how big a deal this is, and that's why they're scared. So everybody listening to me, there is this paradox where as more and more comes out, people just get used to it. And again, I said it earlier, you've got to realize how important this is, and we've got to support O'Keefe Media Group, because James O'Keefe is doing the most ballsy, dangerous reporting in the world against the most dangerous agencies in the world. Most people have got to get put in prison for this, like Julian Assange, where they got to run to Russia. So I just want to point out that I've done a lot of ballsy stuff, but nothing in this category. This is next level.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing that, Alex. I did say that. Do you think it's a coincidence that last week I am subject to an endless series of attacks, and obviously, you know, there are attempts to shut me down for whatever the motive is, and we'll get into this later because I don't want to make this too personal. I got too much news to break here, but I just want to say for 30 seconds because Eric's here too, and Eric and I have lived through this together. We've been raided. It's been horrifying. It's been psychologically traumatizing, and obviously it's a bunch of paper cuts designed to break my will, shut me down, shut me up, and get inside my head. I'm sure you recognize that our enemies are masters of half truths and innuendo. Even their statement from the CIA, this guy is not an employee. It's like, dude, when did he become not an employee? Was it in the last few hours? I mean, let's not use innuendo and half truths.
Go back to him. Let me just throw this in exactly. I said to my crew last Friday, I said, if you notice there's attacks everywhere against O'Keefe, I wanted to call O'Keefe. I said, watch, he's about to break something big. And then I saw the CIA stuff yesterday when you kind of hinted, and I said, oh, that's what it is. It's obvious. You kind of hinted earlier. You're saying they were responding before this broke. They were, which means they're surveilling you.
Well, they may. First of all, that's illegal, and second of all, Alex and Eric's still here. If you are, pipe in, Eric. But I urge my follower. Listen very carefully to the people that are listening to this. We're 1 million people listening on all the channels. I want you to take this to heart and listen very carefully to what I'm about to say, because it is the most important thing here as we unpack all this news, and there will be follow-ups. I urge you, my supporters and followers, to take note of every single person participating in the smears, the attacks, the criticisms leveled against my team. Because this is a time when people reveal themselves for who they are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean? I don't care where it is, X, if they like a little snarky tweet. It's so much of the challenge that we have is discerning good and bad, good and evil in the hearts of people.
No,
And
that's right. Listen, you're over the target. These are Benedict Arnolds. A bunch of them are former feds. They have been, whatever, they're blackmailed, whatever. I knew, I said last Friday, I said, you watch, O'Keefe's got something huge, because I saw it everywhere. It was being pushed by the system, and that is a sign of how good you are. And the best thing they had was you turning down a woman trying to hunch on you. I mean, give me a break. They're pathetic.
yeah, the motive is the story is still left to be told. And, you know, I think it's the mirror, Alex. I think, you know, since we're talking about this, I'll finish the thought on this. These are deep things that really cut to the heart of how do we differentiate the good guys and the bad guys anymore? And I was thinking about this idea.
They know now, but here's the deal, folks. They are revealing themselves.
Yes.
And when they attack people that have a giant long track record of kicking globalist ass, it just shows us more that they're literally lighting up what they fear. I mean, it's that simple.
They fear being known. They fear being exposed. And when they know that we see them for who they are deep inside, they believe that it's a fight to the death, that all means are justifiable to smear and attack. And whatever that is, it comes from the depths of hell. And I think this whole fear thing, you know.
I was on with you a month ago, and you said, why do you do this? And I said, I'm fighting for my life. You said, yes, I am too. And that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that these people know what they're doing, and they're disgusting, and they have absolutely nothing. But that's the proof for everybody else watching to just understand. You're bringing real stories of an oppressive regime suppressing our votes, censoring us, targeting us, and they're trying to undermine you because they want to intimidate other people. They can't intimidate Trump or James O'Keefe or Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones, but they think by hurting us, it'll intimidate other people. No, folks, this shows how weak they are. Use the fact that we're willing to stand in the breach like the 300 against this tyranny as an example of how powerful you are. As Trump has said 1,000 times, they're not coming after him. They're trying to get through him to get
yeah, Alex, to get to that's that quote. They're not coming after him. They're trying to get to you. And I want to say one more thing about this before I break news, because Congress just got involved. We just have breaking. There's so many breaking news. I mean, I love. By the way, one of the things I love about being a citizen journalist is when you break news, you watch it grow. You get the reaction. There's nothing else in the world like it. You're on the frontier. Faith over fear. A lot of people saying, well, Aren't you scared they're going to kill you? Aren't you scared? A lot of people afraid, projecting their fear onto me, projecting their fear onto my team. And I get it. But when you believe that truth no longer matters, listen very carefully, another thing that I want to say to the world. When you believe that truth no longer matters, in other words, when justice is no longer based upon reality, but is just based upon the capricious, judges throw you in jail because they don't like you. When you actually start believing that, then that's when you start to lose your mind. And then terrifying thoughts enter your mind, such as, oh my God, they're going to falsely accuse me of something. Some woman's going to say something I never did. And then you start to lose your mind. And if you believe that, and I'm willing to bet that most of the people listening to this program actually believe that. They actually think that the system is so corrupt that they're going to come after you and your children and falsely accuse you. If you're one of those people, listen to me right now and let me tell you something. If you believe that, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. And you should hope you're wrong too. Because one day, probably soon, all of us are going to be accused of something we didn't do. Nevertheless, the more that we believe in the ideals of this country, the more good will triumph over evil. So I hope you're wrong about that. I hope you're wrong. That maybe maybe there'll be a citizen journalism revolution as an offspring to this. And with that, I go into the Matt Gaetz. We have breaking news out of Congress real quick. Matt Gaetz formally calling on the Weaponization Subcommittee to launch an investigation into the CIA. This is the Honorable Jim Jordan from Matt Gaetz. Footage contains evidence. I have the letter. I've posted it. Footage contains evidence the Intelligence Committees withheld intelligence from President Trump and used FISA to spy on Trump, and still doing that today. That's a congressional letter that was just sent, one of many, hopefully to come. Letter writing is one thing. I don't know how we go from here. Matt Gaetz, are you on? Is that you?
Hey, James.
Hey there. I just seeing your letter. Can you describe a little bit about what is developing?
Sure. Well, first, I am startled by what we see, but not surprised, right? Because as jarring as it is part of a constellation of facts that we've uncovered in the Judiciary Committee and in the Weaponization Subcommittee, that there is an effort underway to try to shape the nature of truth itself by shaping what can be seen and what can be received, particularly by those in power. And there's a cabal in Washington that want to control the access to information, both upward to decision makers and downward to the populace. I was listening earlier and someone asked the question, well, do you think they're doing this to President Biden as well? Yes. This is not a partisan issue. The way the intelligence community works around here is frightening, and oftentimes we see manifestations now where it's directed at the right. But I believe that the right approach with what we have on tape, and then, by the way, the reaction from the CIA that is so couched, it is functionally an admission.
Yeah. What is your? Can you break down that for us, Matt? What are your reaction and thoughts and analysis of that statement?
Well, I mean, it showcases the connection of this individual to the very information stream that we're concerned about. I mean, that's what you glean from the letter mostly, is that what usually there's this effort to try to make it sound like the person's the janitor, and here I think you've got it right down the middle. But I think going forward, the right approach is to have the Weaponization Committee investigate, bring this individual in to ask thorough questions about, when he's talking about the director, how did he know that information? Any one piece of evidence has to be corroborated. So I think that what we saw in the FISA abuses, this video that your journalism has uncovered, and then some of the other stuff that we're aware of, some we can talk about, some we can't. To me, that all is part of the same nexus of what's going on. And we get this guy in, we ask questions about the information flow, how it was impaired, who it was involved, and then you know what happens? People start flipping on each other because people don't want to be charged with lying to Congress, and so then you start to zero in on who the real bad actors are.
Matt.
Right. This is a foot in the door.
Matt, I've heard that there's some good people. I know that's a cliche, but there's actually a lot of good people that work in the agency. In fact, when I was standing outside the building doing my on-camera narration, a couple people honked the horn, said they were fans. I don't know how prevalent this is among the rank and file, or your thoughts on that. And this guy seems to have a position of access and authority. He worked there since 2008. And what do you think, Matt, was the most damning statement in the video?
I think that when he's talking about direct implication of the director of the CIA in constraining access to the president, you really have a major problem. And if that can be corroborated, it will be deeply serious, and careers will be ruined, and a lot will be exposed. But yeah, I mean, I think Alex said it right. This is the foot in the door to go and really really root it out. I think it's kind of a bell curve on your question of like the good and the bad. I think some of the folks who are so Washingtonized and so calcified in this belief that all the real smart people in the country work in the three-letter agencies and everybody else just is like lucky enough to live on the same planet with them, that's calcified at the top level. And then I think because there's so much virtue signaling right now, a lot of the new people that are joining are very much like social justice warriors with an agenda. But you've got a lot of great folks in kind of the Gen X, banding of these agencies and some of the geriatric millennials who are patriots, who do love their country, and I think are disgusted by stuff like this. When you've done this before, James, isn't it always some of the good people in any of these organizations that you expose who reach out to you and thank you because they feel trapped?
Yes.
They feel trapped in that system, whether it's in corporate, in big pharma, or in big government, and this liberates a little bit of the truth.
Yeah, I think you're right. And sometimes it's weighing the harm done to the individual with the public interest. This guy was pretty villainous, the way he talked, the way he acted. He's describing crimes. Matt, like a lot of my people, audience, they're very disillusioned by Congress. What would be the process to haul this guy in? How can that happen? Like, what can Congress actually do, or the House actually do here?
Well, let me validate that disillusionment at the start. There have been far too many cases this year where in our committees of jurisdiction, we have been dilatory in bringing in the witnesses. And then when we bring them in, we bring them in under negotiations that I think are too favorable. For example, our staff negotiated away the ability to videotape Hunter Biden's deposition. I have no idea why we did that. That is something I would not have done. And so there will be, I think, here a desire to send some letters, get official comment, go through the legislative liaison. My preference is to cut through that. You immediately get this person in for their first transcribed interview. And you know what? If you don't have every document around them at that time, you're still able to unlock who they work for, their chain of command, who their coworkers were, who they discussed this with, how they recorded any of these agreements or plans or crimes in any writing or in any calendar entry, and then you springboard off of that to the rest of the investigation. Unfortunately, that has not been how we have been operating, and it's one of the reasons why I think our oversight thus far has not driven the change that a lot of people have wanted.
And if I could just jump in briefly, I think that's because there's so much intimidation. Not everybody's Matt Gaetz who's willing, or Donald Trump, to stand up against this. So my question is this: I agree with Congressman Gaetz that obviously, the biggest issue here is Pompeo working against Trump in this admission. We already knew that was happening. They even bragged about it in the media previously. But what about the issue of giving false intelligence reports to the president? That's what foreign enemies try to do. That's actually what disinformation is. And we know they've even bragged in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, that they would give Trump fake briefings. They would destroy executive orders he signed. They would do all this. I mean, that's all on record. We forget about all of that. So to me, if we just have real hearings, we can stop this coup. And I think you said earlier, James, you're betting on America. I think Congressman Gaetz is betting on America. We believe in the people. I mean, this is outrageous. This is rogue agency. So, Congressman, specifically, I don't know if you had time to watch the whole 3-minute video. I know you're busy, but I mean, they're right there admitting a coup against America with disinformation in the government to the president. You go to jail for a false statement to the FBI. Well, this is false statements to the president. So how do we quantify that?
Likely through a lens of intent. And here there will, of course, be a moral self-preening. There will be a self-righteous intent. Well, we did these things because we were required to, because Trump is a Russian asset. Again, this is the absurdity that the individual expresses over and over again in James's videos. But where I think you're so right on this, Alex, is if we don't create some consequence or exposure to this, it will happen again. Trump is going to win again, and I wake up every day deeply concerned about the people who could weasel their way into the administration or buried in the bowels of government who see this video and say, you know what, I wasn't the only one. And you know what, there's other people out there doing this. And in a way, it becomes this self-validating ecosystem of resistance that is not a practice in unearthing history. It is an exercise in shaping the future we're going to live.
And Matt, the question about people who I will tell you, I already have had. I hope I don't regret saying this on Signal as I speak. People inside the CIA, or at least claim to be, and providing actually some evidence, are messaging me. And I know they're messaging Michael Schellenberger, who has a number of sources inside the CIA, and they haven't taken away the First Amendment yet. I don't think we've reached that tipping point. We still have in our Article 3 courts a protection of First Amendment for journalists. So here's my question. Matt Gaetz, you're listening to Matt. Congressman Matt Gaetz just put a letter to Honorable Jim Jordan about this undercover video just released. CIA has issued a statement, which is itself absolutely remarkable that they actually responded already. Appears to have fired this individual. Matt Gaetz, when they go before Congress, can they tell the truth? Are they protected, these whistleblowers? Talk a little bit about that, because you mentioned hauling them before and talking. This guy told me on the street, I can't talk about this with you. How does that work in the House?
Any disclosure that is made to a member of Congress is a protected disclosure, and if there is any retaliation against an individual for that protected disclosure, then it becomes a very serious federal crime. People lose their benefits. They can lose their liberties. It is very serious. I wish we were more aggressive about enforcing those whistleblower protections. Right now, we have whistleblowers that are like, what the hell? I came forward. I blew the whistle to Congress. I'm afforded these protections. But when people violate those protections, it's Merrick Garland's Justice Department. So when we get a new attorney general, we have to go and prosecute the crimes that have occurred against existing whistleblowers, principally in the FBI, but I think you may see that in the IRS Hunter Biden matter as well. So there are protections. They are not self-affecting, and oftentimes they require a Department of Justice with some moral code.
Wow. We have Matt Gaetz here, Alex Jones responding. We have a lot of people listening. We have a response from the CIA. Hey, Matt Gaetz, I was getting this from Alex Jones too. I can't believe they gave me a statement. I mean, I was shocked by that. Almost immediately. And that tells me something.
Me after I saw the video, Jay. I mean, I saw the video and I told you, I said, look, this is not going to be something these guys aren't going to be able to respond to. Because oftentimes when you do this journalism, we think, okay, well, where does this go? Where does it lead? Because you're looking at a searing admission often in a candid environment. And in this case, I told you that they would unquestionably have to respond and try to discredit and diminish this individual. But it was such a fast response. Just the timing itself is almost.
Why do you think they responded as opposed to ignoring it?
It shows desperation.
Most time they ignore it, and that's why Matt Gaetz, why would they just not ignore it, for example? Why do they feel the need to respond?
Because it is not an isolated event.
Do we still have you? Sorry, say that again. You broke up.
The reason they know they have to respond to this is because it is one in a series of facts with a common refrain of what was going on. I mean, Alex just talked about the mainstream media reporting that is right in line with this vector of behavior.
Well, thank you both. Any parting comments, Matt? What's next for this, I guess, congressional escalation, if anything?
Well, you know, the job, the job is done. It's 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 done.
I think we lost you, but I'm going to go ahead and play this one section here talking about burner phones in the video. I'm going to play this section because I think it's interesting about spying on Trump, and then we're going to take a very short break, and then I'm going to come with audio of my phone call with the press secretary, with the CIA. This is, for those of you just tuning in, Amjad Anton Fasisi, Project Manager, Cyber Operations, CIA. He's worked with the NSA, contracted with Deloitte. He's got the green badge. The green badge means he's a contractor with the CIA. I'm just learning this. I did not know this.
Yeah, James, you've got so many viewers right now. I'm looking at this exploding everywhere. You might want to recap what's breaking.
Yep, yeah, just breaking news here. It's 7 o'clock on the East Coast. The story broke at 5 Eastern time. This is Amjad Fasisi, CIA. I guess he was fired today. O'Keefe Media Group is reporting that he has been terminated from the CIA as of this week. We knew he worked for the CIA last week, and as a result of these revelations, he's talking about human intelligence spying on Trump and currently spying on Trump. And he also says, we listen to everything. The CIA, it's not legal for them to spy on Americans. They can spy on the Chinese all they want. This is what he says.
But we have human intelligence, and we also have people that monitor his ex-wife.
We, the CIA, have people that monitor Donald Trump's ex-wife, says the CIA official, the project manager of cyber operations. And then he says Donald Trump, quote, likes to use burner phones. Listen to this.
Can I say that one more time?
By the way, credit to the citizen journalist. If you're listening out there, I know you are, and you want to do this, God knows we get 100,000 messages every day. I want to do this. I want to do this. You know, the truth is like 0.001% of you can or know how to do this. But there's a lot of people out there that can do this if you have the will and the balls, or shall I say testicular fortitude. If you're a woman, is that even a thing? I don't know. Courage, moxie, moral courage. Let's call it moral courage if you're a female or a male. But what's a woman anyway? This guy is saying that he can spy on Trump, spy on his wife, and he's spying on all of you.
He likes to use what?
Burner phones.
Burner phones. Burner phones.
Prepaid phone call that's not attached to. It's not on the network.
He's saying Trump uses a prepaid phone. Of course, we use burner phones. I guess this checks out. Other people have told me that this is actually true. So this guy's spitting facts about a lot of things that check out. Says it very matter-of-factly here.
Oh, James, it's like Matt Gaetz said. They have admitted all this already. You just have the proof.
Yeah.
They do this weird thing where, oh, we're doing it. They go, oh, no, we're not. Now you've got to admitting it. It gives a face to it. That's why it's so important.
That's why people need to see. I think that's a very important point. If you're just tuning in, a lot of people saying, well, we already know this. And my response to the we already know this argument is that no. Many people don't know this. Most people can't even name one Supreme Court justice. Most people don't even know what the CIA does. So most people don't know this. And even if you do know this, I think that people need to see. They have to see and hear it.
I totally agree. It's like if you're a great golf player and someone's playing golf for the first time, you go, oh, you know how to hit under, as a scratch player. No, you don't.
Right.
And so this is historic, and people need to recognize it, because that's our only Achilles heel is those of us that are aware of it in this for 10, 20, 30 years, we get punch drunk and think, well, everybody knows this. No, they don't know it.
Yeah, that's very good. So this is the last part of this prepaid phone card. He's talking about spying on Trump, which is illegal. FISA, a CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump. Sources say that was Michael Schellenberg's report, but now you see the source on video.
Can I say that one more time? He likes to use what?
Burner phones.
What does that mean?
That means a prepaid phone card that's not attached to. It's not on the network. It doesn't ping the tower.
Like a dummy phone? Like a dumb phone? Like a flip phone?
That's called a burner.
It's called a burner phone. And by the way, we at OMG use phones provided by Unplugged. This is a brand new product. It's offline. They can't track your user ID, so that it can't track your movements. And I just want to play a quick message about those because you should check those products out. We use them at OMG, It's completely protected off the grid.
Phone call that's not attached to, it's not on the network, it doesn't ping the tower.
Like a dummy phone? Like a dumb phone? Like a flip phone?
Yeah, it's called a button.
I've had it with all my personal and private information being exposed and exploited by big tech and big government. So I'm joining my friend Eric Prince, and I'm switching to my new unplugged phone. Protect your privacy. Get your very own unplugged phone. Go to unplugged.com/OMG. That's unplugged.com/OMG. Take your privacy back. Unplugged.com/OMG.
Unplugged.com/OMG. We have these phones now where they're completely offline and they can't get the information and you can wipe them. So we use Apple phones, we use burner phones, we use I guess, I didn't know Trump used a burner phone. I guess that checks out. Okay, that's great. Unplugged.com/OMG. You can pick up these, I don't know if they're burner phones per se. Are they burner phones or are they just, they're secure phones. So you can't track us when we go to the grocery store because they can do that with the advertising, advertising IDs. These phones don't have them. It's called an unplugged phone. It comes out this month, right? You can. We have the phone at our headquarters, but I guess you can buy them and they'll be shipping to them in the coming weeks for those unplugged phones. Okay, everyone, you are live on the air with James O'Keefe for the second hour of On the Inside, Insider Blows Whistle. And now I want to go to this call I had with the CIA press secretary. One of the more extraordinary moments, one of the more sublime things I've ever seen, because most of the time the subjects of the investigation do not respond at all. You know, I was talking to my friend Charlie Kirk about this, and we were talking, I can't believe these institutions are not responding. BlackRock, right? All these organizations, these...
And by the way, James, just something real quick. Having them respond is so huge, but just imagine how panicked they are right now that this information is coming out. People need to savor this and understand how historical this is and just realize how important it is.
Well, thank you, Alex, and thank you for the work that you're doing getting the information out to your audience. That means a lot to me, and I know that we all have been under attack in ways we never could have imagined. For those of you just tuning in, you're looking at the screen here. For those of you on YouTube, this is the China Mission Center. This guy works at, or worked at, before he was just terminated, at the CIA. What is that? Have you ever heard of the China Mission Center before? The China Mission Center is a division within Langley, much like the IMC Iran Mission Center, SCAMC South and Central Asian Center, Russian Mission Center. This guy works for a recently created program from Director Burns. This is a recent addition to the CIA, and he's worked at the CIA since 2008. This is the first comment. Put that on the screen if you could for those of you on YouTube from the CIA. And this is the second comment they sent us. Again, I'm going to read it to you. These claims about the CIA are absolutely false. The CIA is resolutely apolitical, that provides intelligence support to policymakers, including the president, irrespective of who occupies the office. We are a foreign intelligence-focused agency and do not monitor the former president. The individual making these allegations is a former contractor. So when they say these claims about the CIA, I didn't make these claims. They're not my claims. I don't really make claims, ladies and gentlemen. I quote people. I quote people on the inside. These are his claims. And it's rare. It's very rare that you see an intelligence officer waving his badge around like this. So let's go ahead and go to this. This is never before seen or heard. This is me speaking to the press secretary at the CIA.
Hi, James. I'm glad to meet you like this. I'm Chelsea Robinson. I'm the press secretary, and the director of OTA, Tammy Thorpe, will also be engaging on this. We are preparing. We have a statement that we would like to provide. We will be sharing it verbally as well as in written format. We are going to be pressuring based on your email response that we had until 5 o'clock. If that's moved up, we will make that work.
Yes, ma'am.
Chelsea from CIA calling back.
Hey, Chelsea, you got me and James here.
Hi, James. Is it an okay time to call you back?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to read you the statement, and then I'm going to hit send on it to you. And it'll probably just take a minute to populate.
For those of you just tuning in, I'm on the phone with the press secretary for the Central Intelligence Agency. I did not know that such a thing existed. I didn't know that one could talk to them. I'm not sure that that's a thing, but it's happening. This is me on the phone with the CIA, ladies and gentlemen.
In your inbox.
You're going to be sending it to my email, correct?
Yes, I'll be responding all to your email. And you can attribute it to a CIA spokesperson, and it'll say, these claims about CIA are absolutely false and ridiculous. CIA is a resolutely apolitical institution that provides objective intelligence support to policymakers, including the President of the United States, irrespective of who occupies the office. We're a foreign intelligence-focused agency and do not monitor the former president. The individual making these allegations is a former contractor who does not represent CIA.
Got it. So he's a former contractor. When was he terminated? Was it after we gave the quotes to you and Deloitte?
Are we speaking, can we speak off the record a moment?
Okay, then I'm going to redact this section because she requested to speak off the record for a moment. But you can see there the trepidation to admit when he was terminated. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Amjad Fasisi appears to have been terminated by the CIA in the last 24 hours. This is me back on the phone with the spokesperson for the CIA. I would like to know, has this individual been terminated in the last 48 hours as a result of what we've uncovered?
The only on the record that I have for you right now is the statement that I've provided.
Okay.
I may attribute it to a CIA spokesperson.
Okay. Obviously, the individual being terminated as a result of these findings would be newsworthy. Can you get back to us on that?
The only thing that I'm comfortable saying on the record is will be provided.
Okay. Okay, so she's, I mean, I kind of tells a story, doesn't it? I mean,
James, I'm going to leave. I'm going to keep listening to the rap home to my family. But I just want to say, this is so epic. They are so scared. They're losing. You bet on America. I bet on America. This is their coup being exposed. The country's waking up. Huge things are happening. I am so honored to be part of this. This is simply amazing. They are so scared because they know there's more whistleblowers. Their house of cards is going down. You said Congressman Gates on congressional investigations. Congratulations. Everybody get this story out everywhere. That's why they came after Mr. O'Keefe in the last week, because they're tracking him. But because he has courage, we are now exposing them. This is an amazing moment in history. So thank you so much, Mr. O'Keefe.
Thank you, Alex. Okay. Here at 7:15 on the East Coast. We got 45 minutes left. Matt, he's still there? No, he's not there. How about Nick Sorter? Are you there?
I'm here, James.
What did you make of that conversation with the press secretary at the CIA?
Man, I'm telling you, James, no matter how many attacks you get from all sides and from people that, and I won't name any names, but, some people that maybe I didn't expect you to get attacked by over the past week or so, you always come through here. And so, I want to congratulate you and your team, many of which I know personally and in the background.
Why is Sebastian Gorka attacking me? I don't understand that.
I like Dr. Gorka. Dr. Gorka is a good friend of mine. I'm not sure.
Why are people? What's the motive? I guess I don't know the answer. None of this makes any actual sense. I just found out.
I spoke with Alex Jones earlier about this as well, and we had a conversation about this. And,
I'm naming names.
I won't name any names here.
I am. I will. I will name names.
Yeah.
I will name names because it tears at the fabric. It tears at the fabric of the souls of my teammates. How about that? Because you're literally fighting Leviathan. You're being arrested. I'm placed on probation. You have millions of dollars of legal fees, and I'm getting shot in the head, the side, the front, and I'm getting stabbed in the back. And I have one question. It is rhetorical in nature. Why? Why on earth would people do that?
They're choosing the wrong enemy here. We're on the same team, or at least I thought we were on the same team. You and I might be on the same team.
It's not even about team. It's not even about. It's not even about like team. I hear that, but it's like I'm not even like that political. I just quote people. I can't put words in people's mouth. I can't make people say things. I think this is not a left or right issue. I think all Americans, you should be united against this sort of thing. The organizations, the agencies should not be politicized. And what unites us is so much stronger than what divides us. We should all be united in that. So I just wanted to say that clearly, I don't understand it. I don't understand it, Nick.
And when I say the same team, James, I mean Team America, Team Humanity. That's the team that I'm talking about, and that's what we're fighting for every single day. And when you have journalists that are going in and literally risking, I want people in the audience to realize how much is at stake here when these journalists go into meetings, on behalf of James and, on behalf of us, really, on behalf of all of us, true Americans. And they are risking their freedoms. They're risking their lives. You know what the CIA and the deep state do to these people. You know that they're going to end up being followed now. They're going to be tracked. Every communication they have, they're going to have to switch, to only messaging by signal at this point because every move that they make is going to end up being tracked. But these people are willing to do so. Now, the biggest takeaway today, and James, it's very hard to get people to watch, even me, like a 30-minute video. I watched every minute of that video, and I was really taken aback by everything that I saw at this point, because it's things that people have been quote unquote speculating for years, but you've now got top level CIA people with top secret security clearances that are confirming this stuff. And he was divulging information that he wasn't even necessarily asked for. So we know that this stuff is happening. We've known it for years, but the thing about it that we needed and that a lot of Americans needed is they needed to hear it from the source, and that's exactly what we have now. For the first time ever, we now have that from the mouth of the beast. And, how can you expect, people were like, oh, well, Trump was president of the United States. Why didn't he do anything about it then? Well, because clearly they were hiding everything from America.
But I also think, Nick, I think people need to see. I think one little piece of video is worth more than 10,000 pages of written evidence and anonymous sources and on background quotes and opinions. And by the way, I just want to, for those of you just tuning in, this is me standing outside the CIA headquarters on, was it Monday night? I forget which day it is. Monday night. Standing outside the Langley headquarters, and I just want to play this brief interaction. I know Nick has a point. It's a 30-minute video. You can watch the first 5 minutes to get the gist. But this is me standing outside Langley, and some police officers, some really these guys mean business, walk up to me and start talking to me. Right behind me, the CIA, the police officers here.
We figured we'd come up and just say hello.
No problem. We're allowed to stand here?
100%.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely everything you guys are doing is
Yeah.
100% okay from where you're at right now.
Okay.
If we proceed forward of the crosswalk,
Yeah.
that's where we may have to come up and have another discussion.
So I'm standing, I guess, on the egress road on the main thoroughfare in front of the headquarters, and if I walk 2 feet in a certain direction, they'd probably tackle me. But it's slightly terrifying to go against these powerful people. And Eric Cochran, I don't know if you're still on. I see you're muted. If you can unmute yourself, if you hear me. I mean, when the FBI raided you and me about the diary thing, which we never even published, by the way, turns out, Eric Cochran, you're a better journalist than you thought you were, because they kind of corroborated the document by raiding you. They wouldn't raid you over a fake document. But does it terrify you? Are you scared on a human level when you do this sort of reporting and the Oblinus and these contractors to the CIA?
You do have to think about it, right? Like, I go to bed every night with an undercover camera under my pillow. I expect that to kind of happen. But like, you just can't let it paralyze you. Like, you just have to keep moving forward. So you can't spend your mental energy. That's a lot of, we've talked about it. The process is the punishment. The idea is to make you paranoid, to make you spend all of your energy worrying about, I just shouldn't ever do anything. They try to do this with you, with me, with David Daleiden, with countless others. But you have to keep exposing them. You have to keep on getting results.
Listen to Eric Cochran, who did the story on Oblinus, and remind the audience what that report showed, like what the headline was, what the lead there was.
Yeah, so the DIA employee and former FBI employee, Gavin Oblinus, talked to our undercover journalist about targeting Alex Jones, about trying to chop his legs off, take all his money. That was the goal, encouraging lawsuits. He also talked about setting people up. He said, quote, set them up. He said, we get right to the line of entrapment, and we call it a nudge. So he talks about, the operations that these intelligence agencies use. And yeah, that was, it's very rare to hear, these people, to hear these people speak in such frank terms, but, that's the beauty of undercover journalism, and that's why we do it.
Eric, why all the attacks from, this is what a lot of people are asking us this question. Why were all the attacks from like former employees of Project Veritas and like those, why are you being viciously attacked?
And this is so bizarre to me because I've always treated everybody as I want to be treated, and I haven't said anything bad about anybody else. And these people come out of nowhere when my team releases a big story. These people all of a sudden decide to attack me, attack people on my team. And obviously they've been attacking you for a long time. They ramped up their attacks on you, and just out of nowhere. Totally bizarre, but again, like, I just don't let it eat my mental energy. I mean, you and I have so much to do that it's just like, I'm not gonna let these people, they try to bring stuff down. I'm in the middle of trying to get more subjects. These people that we're recording are getting deposed in these lawsuits. So it's just like too much to worry about.
Well, Eric, there's actually an individual. I'm going to break some more news. I'm a very transparent person, which they hate so much because they're not, and they hate the mirror. One of the things I've learned is, this is like a psychology 401 thing, but you'll all understand this because you're all pretty intelligent. They absolutely hate the mirror, and if someone sees them for who they are, it's one of the most excruciating things, because instead of looking inside themselves, they project the anger they feel of themselves onto you. If I had to guess the motive, that's probably what the motive is. They absolutely hate themselves. They can't even look at themselves inside. So they must attack you viciously. Now, the moment I just said that, swear to God this just happened, I'm not making this up. My assistant is laughing because she can't believe this. There was a person that I invited to be a speaker here. And the reason why I invited them, and they were obviously a troll, is because that individual, who I will not name because it's an anonymous account, right? So I don't know the real name, but I want to find out the real name, has hacked into my private server of my former company and leaked private medical records and emailed private medical records to people, which is a criminal act. And I've hired cybersecurity professionals to find the IP of this individual. I'm just being very transparent. You know who you are. But the question is, what would be the motive for someone to hack into someone's private computer server folders and leak private medical records? What would be that motive?
I think, I've seen this happen in political spheres and internet, communities. I think it's, there are people who build things. There are people like you, James, who build things. And then there are people who can't build things, and they settle for internet drama. So they'll do anything to just get in with their gaggle of friends and create internet drama. They don't care if it's, they don't care who they destroy. But it just gets them clicks. It gets them that kind of thing. But the people who are building things, gotta look forward. Gotta think forward. Gotta think about how to actually change things.
Yeah, there are builders and there are destroyers. And Eric Cochran, what's next for what you're doing? Can you say anything about what might be coming, or any focuses or issues that you're focused on?
Well, yeah, thanks, James. So I run an organization called Sound Investigations. And what we primarily focus on is the internet pornography distributors and the crimes involved with those. Subjects that we've recorded are getting deposed right now. So without saying too much of our plans, we're continuing to go after these industries. Many people might not know, but a lot of laws are changing right now in the country regarding internet pornography and protecting children. So we have a lot more plans there, and some new things coming up. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Eric. So we've heard from Matt Gaetz, we've heard from Eric Cochran, we've heard from Alex Jones, and if you're just tuning in, this is the blockbuster Inside the CIA, never before seen imagery. I'm just going to play a couple moments of this that I think are relevant you haven't heard yet. This guy works for the intelligence community, or he did as of yesterday, and he's describing who he is and what he does. This is Ahmed Anton Fasisi, Project Manager, Cyber Operations, Central Intelligence.
What do you do?
I work for the CIA.
You work for the CIA? What do you do for them?
I do cyber operations. I've been doing it for a long time.
How long have you worked there?
Oh, God. So I work for Deloitte Consulting.
Okay.
So I'm a contractor to the CIA. Deloitte, but based out of the CIA. I also work at NSA, though.
And how long have you been at Deloitte?
Deloitte 2+ years now. Lockheed Martin for about 11.
Work for Lockheed Martin. By the way, if you're wondering, how did you find this guy? We did not seek these people out. They often seek us out. We actually, we were interested in the Lockheed Martin thing, but we had no idea that he worked with the CIA until he told us not to tell anybody that he does.
Nobody wants to tell.
Yeah.
Cyber.
That's what I do.
By the way, this undercover reporter, so brilliant and talented. I know you're listening. Remarkable work. I mean, some of the things that she's doing in this video, like repeating, like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Or at one point he says, we spied on Trump, and she says, who's we? Which is really good. Most people are not that good at that, but if you watch this video, you will get a masterclass in undercover work by a citizen journalist. We pay citizen journalists to do this type of work. She'll get a paycheck, and anyone can do it. It requires a lot of courage, a lot of ingenuity, a lot of creativity, a lot of improvisation, impromptu thinking, but absolute masterclass. Listen to this.
And I work in a mission center.
What?
I work in a mission center at the agency. I am a program manager. I help the mission center across the entire enterprise, everything.
After telling our undercover American swiper citizen, and there's talking about the CIA, talking about Northrop Grumman, Director of National Intelligence. We also spoke with him on the phone briefly, and he confirmed that he worked for something called Insider Threat Program. That corroborates, a lot of corroboration here being done. He describes what he does with the so-called Insider Threat Program at the Chinese Mission Center.
The biggest thing with the insider threat is if somebody clicks on a link that they're not supposed to or whatever, and then they infect their entire network. So does that make any sense? So the biggest threat of all is the carelessness of people within your organization. So you put rules, governance rules, things that they have to follow, and so that they don't do anything stupid.
Not a week goes. Now that's interesting because he literally does counterintelligence and works on threat assessment inside the CIA, so that people don't do things stupid. Which is, he's doing stupid things there, but also possibly in some regards, as bad of an idea as it is, I think it's good for society that he's blowing the whistle. And now he's not a literal whistleblower, but he's releasing information the public has a right to know, and now you're seeing it because he chose to share it. He probably should share it with Congress. It would be a good idea. So a lot of you wonder, how do we have the energy to do this? I take vitamins every day, and I take them from the Wellness Company. Not a week goes by without a news headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to our infrastructure or power grid. And you remember what they pulled during the last pandemic. Certain medications were mysteriously out of stock. No way will I ever let that happen again. In today's unpredictable world, it's all about being prepared for who knows what they have in store for the next pandemic. Our friends and supporters at the Wellness Company have designed this unique, prescription-based medical emergency kit that is packed with 8 potentially life-saving prescription-only medications, including Z-Pak and ivermectin, which I used myself while out on the road and starting to feel a bit under the weather. Health is everything, and this is a great opportunity to order a Wellness Company Medical Emergency Kit. The Wellness Company Medical Emergency Kit stands ready to treat over 30 common ailments ensuring you'll have access to vital medications when you need them most. And now save $45 per kit when you order using the code OMG. Get ready to write this down. Get your wellness company medical emergency kit at twc.health/OMG. That's twc.health/OMG. That's twc.health/OMG. And save $45 per kit today when you use code OMG. All right. Okay, let's go to lightning round and bring everyone in for comment. This is a time when everyone has an opportunity to ask questions, make comments about the story or anything you want to say. But I like to say it's 30 seconds. Some people think that's mean. They say, oh, James is mean. Well, I mean, I think that's the opposite of mean. Isn't it mean to make you listen to someone yammer on for 10 minutes and you don't even know what the point is? Journalism is all about communication and saying things in very simplistic terms so we get to the point, bottom line up front. Before we get to that, and team, if you could queue up some speakers, add people, team, if you could get people in the queue to make some comments about the CIA, about undercover work, about the CIA's response. I'd love to know what you guys think about the response from the CIA. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm going to put the response on screen here. We got the comment just about an hour or two ago. I did visit with Donald Trump today. This is breaking news. I did meet up with President Trump for about 30 minutes and showed him this video, and he has responded on video. So we have that. We're going to put that out here soon, and that's a pretty amazing moment. I was up in Trump Tower in the penthouse and overlooking Central Park this morning, which is pretty cool. So he has seen the video, and he has made a statement. Matt Gaetz has issued a letter, and hopefully Congress does something. So let's go to you, the audience. Who do you want to call on first? Who? After show. After show. Your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Hey, it's After. Thanks for having me, James. I appreciate your words, Matt, as well. I just want to say, it's really.
So a little bit. Your voice is a little fuzzy. It sounds like your voice is being distorted. Is that just me hearing that? Okay, I think your voice is all distorted. Let's try someone else. Maybe you can get that fixed. Let's go to Diligent Denizen. Go ahead.
Thanks, James, and great work, man. This is absolutely bombshell breaking news. My question, what you're about to answer it, was about Trump's response to this. One of the most troubling things I heard was that they're still surveilling Trump right now, and he's the front runner presidential candidate. So I can't wait for you to come out with what he said about that. But I'm just wondering if he said that he was going to pursue any legal action, considering the fact that they're still surveilling him right now.
Well, he was really concerned that there were people like this working in the agency, and paraphrasing him, said that they need to let them go, and it appears as though the CIA did exactly that. But the question is, who else is in there doing this sort of business? To your point, they're surveilling him. We have the clip here of the CIA agent. He's not a CIA agent, contractor, saying that they are spying on Trump's ex-wife and watching all of you. He also talks about how there is a discrepancy between the NSA and the CIA. I'm going to play a few more different clips as I go through the rest of this footage. 30 minutes long. Agencies spying on Trump and his ex-wife. Amjad Fasisi also states as fact that Trump is under constant surveillance and even claims they are spying on his ex-wife. We are assuming Amjad is speaking of Marla Maples.
How did you guys figure out that Trump was colluding with the Russians? Did you guys use?
It's just human intelligence. I can't give you a straight answer. I don't know. But we have human intelligence, and we also have people that monitor his life.
So he says we also have people that monitor. We have people that monitor Trump's ex-wife through human intelligence. Pretty terrifying and also illegal. Really, it's just a horrible thing. Let's go to the next person after. Actually, let's go to Zach Voorhees. Are you there? No? Let's go back to Aftershock. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me this time?
Your voice is unfortunately still distorted. Let's go to Kyle Mason. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, James. Now I got a question here. Now you mentioned, I believe you said, correct me if I'm wrong. You mentioned that that the CIA was like, I guess, pretending. Let's just say that they were with like Northrop or something. What was the company again, if you don't mind?
Yeah, this individual claims he worked for Northrop, currently with Deloitte, worked with the NSA, worked with the National Intelligence, but he lists Northrop Grumman as one of the places that he has worked with.
And the other question is, do you know how many, like, did this person say, like, how many CIA agents were supposedly, quote-unquote, working for the company?
For Northrop or for which company?
Northrop.
I don't think he got into that. He mentioned it in passing. I don't know if we have the transcript in front of us, but he mentioned it in passing on his resume as one of the things that he was involved with. Let's go to Mike Malo. Go ahead.
Hi, James. Thank you. Just had a quick question. So moving forward, what kind of retaliation do you and OMG expect from the CIA and the broader intelligence community for this?
I don't know. That's a question that I would pose back to the audience. Don't know. I reiterate what I said earlier, about an hour ago. For those of you, because people come and go here, a question about fear. Your question is really about retaliation or being falsely accused. And I will say it one more time, and then you guys can tell me what you think the retaliation is going to be. But here's what I have to say. When you believe justice is based upon what people believe, like what is true, versus just what is people believe, this is when you really risk losing your mind. Terrifying thoughts enter your mind, such as, what if they make something up about me? What if they accuse me of a crime? What if they plant fake evidence on me? That's I don't know if that's what you mean by retaliation. I'm assuming that's what you mean by retaliation. And I would say this: if you believe that, if your mind goes to those dark places, then I hope you're wrong. And you should hope you're wrong. Because one day, if what you're saying is true, then all of us are going to go through that. Whether you do what I do or not, you're going to go through that. And therefore, I think we have to have faith. And we have to do the right thing. And we have to adhere to the First Amendment and be ethical and be honest and speak our conscience and not give in to fear. Thank you. Let's go to Zach Voorhees. There you are. How you doing? Zach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you, James. And great disclosure. We've known without proof that the CIA has been weaponized to be a political organization and influence elections according to an agenda of power brokers sitting in the shadows. The two disclosures in the last 30 days has given proof to those assertions that everyone on the right already knew, that the CIA was conducting espionage against the sitting president and even those in their immediate network. And it's no wonder that you are catching flack right now, right before the CIA disclosure. It's because you were right over target.
What do you think the motive is of all those people, Zach?
It's to stop you, right?
But why do they want to stop me? I thought they were supporting of the mission and the foundation of what we do.
Well, I think that some of those people might not have been real, that they might have been plants. And what we see right now is people exposing themselves to the world about who they truly are. And we need to look at that. We need to observe it. We need to keep it in mind in the future for those same individuals that tell us that they have the moral authority, which they don't. They're attacking good people, trying to shed light to common American of what's really going on in our society.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Zach. Let's go to Joel Valdez, or the Joel Valdez. Matt, that's with the Gates office. Let's go to Derek Brose. Go ahead.
Hey, James. It's been a while. We must have had our conversation about our experience with Andrew Breitbart, which I think is really kind of important to rediscuss when you talk about retribution and people attacking you and why, right? So, you takedown of Anthony Weiner, which we discussed. And as a result of that, I got attacked, right? Because I was the person that was taking down Anthony Weiner behind the scenes. I was the person that was emulating the accounts of these young girls that he was sending penis pics to. So, yes, we've seen it. We've watched it happen with Andrew. Hopefully he wasn't murdered, and it was just as they say it was. But you should expect that when it and just like you said, I hope you're wrong, and I hope I am. But the way that they attack you will be through. I don't know whether you have a girlfriend or anything right now, but they'll come through that. They'll come through that way. Remember, this is the CIA. This is what they do. These are fucking spies. So let's not play around with it and realize that everybody puts their lives on the line when they do these types of things. All right. So.
Thank you for the comment.
Yeah, and just let me say this. Remember when, because you said about signals. You were talking about that new phone. Remember the Signal app. Tucker Carlson's the one that said that he found out through a high-level contact that he had that they were even in his Signal app. So as an end-to-end encrypted application, they're still in there. Your burner phone and none of that shit. Trust me, they're there. These people. I'm a technologist, right? I'm an engineer. I built this stuff. So, yeah.
Well, that's a terrifying thought. I mean, was Andrew Breitbart murdered? I've heard from his family that he was not, that he had a heart issue, and they don't like it when people say that he was murdered. But people,
I know he did have a heart issue.
but people are going to believe what they want to believe, I guess you could say. People are going to want to believe in sometimes in things that aren't there. But you know.
Well, it was the conversation that I had with him prior when he told me, "Hey, they tell me that I'm about to be murdered by Anonymous, and Anonymous is telling me that I'm about to be murdered by the FBI." And that was 2 hours before he was dead. So I was the last person to speak to Andrew Breitbart live. Period.
Well, you know, I hope that, I guess that's we don't know what happened, but I will tell you that we have to somehow choose faith over fear, because if we don't, we're all doomed anyway. So what's the point of living, I guess, is the question. We're all gonna die. I mean, you know, like Tucker said recently, something to this effect, which is, oh, you're gonna kill me? Go ahead. All right, fine. You know, laugh about it, because everyone dies. Life is very short, and you know, you don't want to get into a situation where you regret even being alive and you regret having a family, because they can just weaponize them against you. Then Solzhenitsyn talks about this in the Gulag Archipelago, which is that you have this horrible paradigm where you wonder whether you should even have children, because they'll just be weaponized against you and you have to lie to them. We don't want to get there. So I believe we won't get there. I believe that there's going to be a lot of people coming forward, and whistleblowing in numbers is what shall protect us. Let's go to Carolina. Go ahead.
Hey, James, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. It's Carolina here. My concerns here with the statements that suggest that the surveillance is still ongoing, involving monitoring Trump's not just the communication, but activities, brings me to question the resource misallocations. I understand that there's resources that are spent politically motivated to surveil people. So I did a little bit of a research on not just some of the administrations, but this pertains to future administrations. In August, hopefully Trump gets back in office and we're able to hold these people accountable. But it concerns me, because how are we going to keep tab with the amount of money that is going on now? FISA, I believe, is how they were able to do this. So FISA, to me, the way that they did this on the impact of our national security with spying on somebody like Trump, brings me to my point that what are they going to do to us regular civilians if we don't comply with their demands? And we're going to end up suffering political persecution as well. So it's a very concerning issue, James. Thank you for bringing it up.
It is concerning, and we saw first with Ed Snowden and what he brought out 10 years ago. Let's go to Ashton. Go ahead.
Hey, James. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk, and thank you very much for all the work that you've been doing. I guess what my short question is what do you think the CIA was withholding from Trump? And the reason why I ask this is that I think the CIA is implicated in some of the scariest stuff out there. And I would ask you to look into the defense contractors and the type of technology that they are hiding. I think that maybe one of the things that they are hiding is weapons that are well beyond our imagining. So thank you. What's your comment on that, sir?
My comment is I do not know what they're hiding, and I don't even know if it's legal for them to share that with me, let alone me share it with you. So I don't know if we can know what they're hiding. But I do know that, some people are saying, well, you shouldn't publish this sort of thing. And I say, where is the editorial responsibility in not publishing this sort of thing that you see this guy saying these things, waving his badge around? What type of culture is there? This guy certainly had access. He was able to view through the organization. He was able to participate in things. He was there for a long time. So we think the public has a right to know what he says. If he's in a public place sharing it to a pretty much stranger on the first meeting, he says he's CIA. Let's go to Eric Clark. Go ahead.
Yes, James, I just sent you a DM. This is kind of connected. So what are the chances that Mike Pompeo's CIA were the real orchestrators behind the scene for January 6th to give Congress an excuse to carry forward their certification of a fraudulent election? So I'd like you to check out a DM I sent you that some sources very close to this person have told me that this is Mike Pompeo's nephew, and he's seen handing people bullhorns and coaching them as to what to say, trying to convince people to break windows with rocks and things of that nature. But with my limited resources, I'm unable to kind of corroborate, is this true or not? But I know that you're far better at these things, so you probably get a lot of DMs, and I just wanted to see if you would check the one I sent you.
All right, we'll check it out. Thank you. Yeah, we do get a lot of DMs, and the thing that would help us is for those of you who are DMing us, and we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and most of them are saying, how can I help? And that is of no help. The way you can best help is to communicate, especially if you have a tip, is to try to communicate in like 30 seconds or less what the piece of information that is valuable. Just a bunch of raw information is often not valuable. So trying to find what is the significant revelation that's hidden from public view and leading with that is going to help our team vet this information. Clearly, if it's on video, it's really what matters. I think documents are of limited value. Although, in this case, if you have corroboration and documents of what this man is saying, we'd like to see them. I think that would be very big, and if those documents exist, the public has a right to see them. Let's go to Kevin Smith. You are from, is this the Kevin Smith from Long Island?
Yeah, it's me.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you? Great work as always.
Thanks. I'd love your thoughts.
No, I came up here pretty much just to, there's so many people listening right now, and I know so many people watch your stuff, and they feel so helpless about what they can do about this particular issue. And, I get I'm involved in a lot of activism, and a lot of people want to know, should we be putting pressure on our members of Congress, on our senators? What can the average person do? Look, I'm sure they can come up with tips, and I'm sure everyone's got, their own little bits of information, but the tangible stuff, should we be calling Congress? Should we be putting pressure on some people now that Congressman Gates has,
it's a really good question. Kevin, it's the most frequently asked question I get, which is, what can I do? And when you have like 1 million people asking this question, it's very difficult because I can't give orders to, each and every one of you. But I think my perspective is, it's not so much that we need 1 million people to do the thing. I think we need like 100 people to do the thing. In other words, I think if we could just find like the most courageous people in the country to do what this girl did, because let's face it, the hero in this tale is the girl in the video, who shall not be mentioned by name. She's the one who got the story. We helped empower her. I will, take a bullet for her, et cetera, get sued, raise $1 million to defend her if necessary. But she's the hero, and we need more people like her. Now, does that mean everyone has to do that? No. So what can the other people do? Well, you can share the stories, you can contact your lawmakers, you can donate to the people. Dennis Prager says it this way: you can do the thing, you can be the tip of the spear. You can financially support the people who do the thing, or you can do absolutely nothing. And those are the only 3 options that you have. There's no fourth option. You can either be on the front lines, and Kevin, I think you're one of those people in Long Island. You do a great job. You've really been active, and I appreciate you. and you've really shared around those videos, so I appreciate what you're doing. You can be on the front lines, you can financially support the people who are on the front lines, or you can do absolutely nothing. Those are your three options. Pick one. Thank you, Kevin. Let's go to, that's that Loomer Fan Club. Is that the same thing as Laura Loomer, or is that somebody else? I have no idea.
Hello, James. Thank you for accepting my invite to speak.
Go ahead. You got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Excellent. James, my question is going to be very simple. It is about your undercover operative, the girl who I thought was famous. It's kind of a fun question, but what we want to know at the Loomer Fan Club, was she blonde, brunette, black hair? What was appealing to this guy? Can you at least give up her hair color for us, James?
No, I cannot give up her hair color. And even if I did tell you her hair color, maybe she dyed it. So I will not give up her hair color. What do I think is appealing in general? And if you can mute yourself because you got some background noise, Loomer, if you could, Fan Club, if you can mute yourself. What I think is appealing is, there's a great book called "It's Not About Me," and we provide a course to train people how to do this. It's really just expressing interest in them and getting to know them and being curious and just asking basic questions. I think that's really important. It's not about sex. It's not about, and if anything of this nature is mentioned, we redact it. We don't publish the private, intimate, personal, embarrassing details. We try to avoid that. The only time I ever did publish the private detail was when the tranny guy said he had bottom surgery, and we had a discussion internally about that. But we generally stay away from that stuff. It's mostly just about the stuff the public has a right to know. When you ask questions and when you express genuine curiosity, people love to talk about themselves. And that's how it works. And they like to brag, and pride comes before the fall. So if you want to do this, it's O'KeefeMediaGroup.com/swiper. We got lots of people signing up right now. Everyone wants to do this. We'll pay you to do it, but we don't necessarily want to hire everyone on our payroll to do it. You can go get the story. We'll pay you after the fact. It's an automatic $5,000 if you get 1 million views on X. And and that's what they're terrified of. What they really are afraid of is not me. It's the fact that we have 100 people now doing this. That scares the shit out of them because they're like, whoa, now there's all these other people doing it and we can't whack-a-mole 100 people. That's what they're really terrified of, and that's what we need to do. We got 10 minutes left. Let's go to Phoenix, Phoenix. Go ahead.
Hi there, James. Thank you, Mario, for bringing me up. Hi, Debbie. I just wanted to quickly touch on it. I sent you messages to your DM, but really, I just had an experience with jury duty and the way that they were trying to get people on their Wi-Fi network kind of alarmed me. It seemed like they were trying to gain access to people's data on their phones, and it was like blocking cell signal in the building of the courthouse. And so I just wanted to kind of put that out there. When you talk about anonymous sources, like they could easily take the information off of something like that if they're trying to collect data in a mandatory check-in like jury duty, and say that they have anonymous sources. So I linked everything and sent it to you. I won't waste your time here, but I just wanted to kind of bring attention to that because I like to figure out how they're getting the information, and that was something that concerned me. And I saw it happen to my daughter when she did jury duty. She couldn't get out to get a cell signal to reach out to us to let us know like her schedule to pick her up, and then it happened to myself, and then I went down the rabbit hole to get more information. So I sent all that information to you, and I hope you find it compelling.
Thank you very much for the information. Let's go to, we only got about 5-10 minutes left. Let's go to Pedro Israel Orta. Go ahead.
Thanks, James. I spent 18 years at the CIA, wrote a book, The Broken Whistle, Deep State Run Amok. Your reporting is spot on. These agencies have become so powerful and so strong that they withhold information, they spin information, they lie, they conceal, even to Congress and not just the president. And it has to stop. And by revealing it, showing it, it helps. So we hope now that Matt Gaetz in Congress will actually do something about it because you are 100% spot on.
What do you think, Sir Pedro? You were the author of a book. What's the name of your book?
The Broken Whistle, A Deep State Run Amok, which is my experience.
I think I've read this. I think I read your book. I think I read a PDF version of it. It was very technical, but very, very good. Pedro, as a former CIA What did you do for the CIA? From what you can say, what did you do?
I did the full gamut. I did analysis, I did operations, I did headquarters work, field work, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, technical operations, technical targeting, and inspector general also.
What do you make of the CIA's statement to me today? The press secretary releasing a statement about this. Have you seen that statement?
I mean, any federal government employee of any agency by the Hatch Act is forbidden to be political in nature as far as taking sides with any political actors as far as parties, presidents, so forth. We're supposed to be neutral. But the reality is that when you've got strong political appointees like Brennan and they bring in their own people, you begin to certainly politicize an agency and take sides. But that is illegal. Even a political appointee cannot be a hatchet man for a president to basically push forward a president's agenda from the perspective of politics. They're supposed to be basically a political appointee serving as a civil servant.
Do you think this man in here has described crimes being committed?
As a Green Badger, his access will be limited. I mean, we have Green Badgers, or we used to have since I was there, who did a lot of...
Can you just describe what you mean by green badge? What do you mean by that?
A Green Badge individual is not an employee. They are a contractor. So they're working for a private company like Raytheon, the big defense contractors, Deloitte, so forth. And they're filling a contract role where they're supplying personnel to an agency. And that's just something that is being done in that D.C. area, not just with CIA, but Defense, Department of Defense, and other government agencies. It's somebody on a private payroll that's just loaned out to the CIA and will do CIA work on a contract.
Anything else you'd like to say? I mean, it's pretty remarkable we have you on the air here. This is a former CIA intelligence officer for 18 years. Any other thoughts about the video, the report, the reaction, the response? What's next?
What's next is Congress needs to start reining in these rogue agencies. We're dealing with historical problems that have been going on for decades. And what has failed us has been basically that congressional oversight piece, particularly the HIPSI and the SISI, that are basically doing the bidding for these agencies.
And the Intelligence Committee, are they able to hold them accountable, or are they afraid to because of what they're told in the skiff?
What happens is these agencies either lie, they spin, they don't tell the whole truth, they withhold information. There's also an element of these oversight committees. Reality is the staffers doing the work. The staffers doing the work have to get clearances. How do they get their clearances? These agencies pretty much do the vetting for those clearances. The agencies almost control who works for these committees. They can actually say, no, we don't want that person working on the committee. It's really not the congressmen or the senators doing the oversight. It's the staffers doing the oversight.
I've heard that the majority of these people that work there are pretty good people, patriotic people. I've heard even some reports 80% of people are pretty good and professional. Is that your assessment? Or when did you leave?
I was fired in 2018, officially though January 2019 by the time I got the notice. And it's true, most people are patriotic. They go in with great intentions. But what happens is, in order to go up the ranks, you have to become one of them from the perspective of being tainted, where you will compromise your values and put an agency first over the Constitution and over the president at times.
Does my team have reason to be afraid as reporters, journalists do? I mean, Michael Schellenberger, Matt Taibbi have already reported this from deep background sources. It's rare that we see it on video, but what are your thoughts about the retaliation fears against me or my team?
I mean, the reality is, if you're not disclosing classified information, they have no reason to go after you at all. And in this particular case, you have a video of somebody caught on tape. So, I mean, the person that really has to be on the lookout now is that person caught on tape.
Right.
They're the ones that potentially could get some wrath, but the only wrath they can face is basically being fired and blackballed, so they lose their clearance.
Well, that's currently what we're hearing from the press secretary of the CIA. The individual making these allegations is a former contractor who does not represent the CIA. Of course, on the phone, if you're just tuning in, I just want to play this clip again because I think few people have heard it. We're about to publish this, guys, online. This is my phone call with this spokesperson for the CIA. I can't. It's one of the more remarkable moments of like my entire life. Is usually they don't even talk or react, but now they're giving a statement prior to the video coming out. We are the new media, ladies and gentlemen. The media. You always complain about the media. Why isn't this being covered by the media? Well, guess what? We are the media, and when you start to change your mentality, amazing things happen. I just want to play this moment one more time here. Repeat this moment on the phone.
Focused agency and do not monitor the former president. The individual making these allegations is a former contractor who does not represent CIA.
Got it. So he's a former contractor. When was he terminated? Was it after we gave the quotes to you and Deloitte?
Are we speaking, can we speak off the record a moment?
All right, so that she didn't want to answer that question, but that's an interesting question. Pedro, green badges. I've heard. I spoke to the deputy director, former deputy director of national intelligence, and he told me that the green badges are basically you have to give them in right when you leave. You can't hold on to it. The CIA badge is that your understanding?
But basically, you have a green badge as long as you're on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And you take the green badge with you home, and you have it with you as long as you're on that contract. The only time you turn in that green badge is when you're terminated or when your contract is over and you're no longer employed by that private contractor. And the badge is actually not issued by the private contractor. The badge is actually issued by the agency that is allowing that contractor to go work for the agency.
And we've heard reports that they shred the badge when you walk out of the building. When you're terminated, that you have to return the property to the agency of service of destruction. So it's not, he had the badge last week, so he's clearly been terminated here in the last few days. And it's sad that they terminated him. Telling the truth, he shouldn't be fired. I guess he shouldn't be disclosing this in public and talking about talking about it in that way. But we have other whistleblowers who might have corroboration. And as someone who's written a book, what are your message to other whistleblowers who want to blow the whistle? It's a pretty courageous thing for you to do, write a book.
The process is completely broken, and it falls back on Congress because the protections are extremely weak. And when a reprisal takes place, Congress doesn't hold these agencies accountable for those reprisals. So it empowers these agencies to continue taking reprisals. So if someone wants to blow the whistle, the reality is that the blowback is going to be so high, you're going to have to count the cost. And as far as blowing the whistle internally, the reality is it's going to come back against you. Ideally, you can go to Congress and Congress protects you, but we've seen too many cases of Congress basically using whistleblowers for showboating, grandstanding, and political theater.
So why do it if it's going to blow back against you?
Well, it depends what you're blowing the whistle on. If you're blowing the whistle on serious matters of life and death, like in a war zone that I was facing, or severe systemic issues that are causing life and death issues again, or serious issues like what Ed Snowden disclosed. I mean, there's sometimes you really have no choice but to come forward. The question is just how can you come forward? Ed Snowden chose wisely to flee the country and seek protection outside, or else he would be in jail. In my case, I was fired for it and nobody helped me. But I had to speak truth to power because our lives were basically being put in danger in a war zone. And as a manager, I had personnel below me being harassed. And I had to speak up on behalf of those personnel being harassed.
Well, thank you for your book, Pedro. And I could spend 2 hours on the phone with you talking, but I think we only have a few minutes left, and there's all these people that want to talk. And my team, we've got to get back to work. We're always working. It's 8:05 Eastern in New York New Jersey, where we're located. And we have a few more callers. So thank you again, Pedro, and make sure to DM me and I'll follow up with you. We got a couple more callers. Adam Lowitz, are you there?
Hi there, James. Thank you for having me up. And hello to Zach, also a good friend of mine. I just wanted to bring up a point that, if it wouldn't be for whistleblowers, like, for example, like Edward Snowden with the NSA, we wouldn't know the extent of the abuses that the government's going, or people like you who are doing this investigative journalism. And we need a more systematic way to prevent future abuses of power and increase government transparency. Do you know of any legislation currently being passed through Congress or working its way through in a bill that could address some of these problems that you're uncovering, and that we can also call our legislators about to kind of get that passed through both House and Senate?
Getting something passed through both House and Senate sounds impossible to me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. This is not my area of expertise, but I think Congress is completely broken, and I don't know how to change that except to release the information. I think the information is the accountability that we seek. I do not know the answer to that question. What can anything get passed in Congress? Can someone tell me what Congress actually does do, other than take away your liberty and tax you and create more laws that micromanages your life? I honestly don't know the answer to that. What does Congress actually do? I know Matt Gaetz. At least Matt Gaetz is trying to do something. He wrote a letter. I appreciate that very much. And I hope someone on the Intelligence Committee puts pressure on someone. I fully recognize that 70, 80% of those people there are good. Probably, maybe even 85% are decent, good people. But there's evil, and there's fraud, there's corruption, and sunlight is the best disinfectant. I actually think the only thing these people actually truly fear, they certainly don't fear Congress. I think the only thing they actually fear is citizen journalism. I think the only thing they actually fear is being caught on tape, because everything else can be denied. That's what I think. Controversial statement. But if someone actually has an answer to my question about what Congress actually does, please let me know. Please. And I feel really bad for some good people in Congress. I feel like they're impotent and it's not their fault. But it's the illusion of power being in Congress. It's the illusion of power. And you have to raise money, and I get it. It's really sad. God, we have a lot of callers. I don't know if you want, we'll go a few more minutes, go number 5 minutes, a couple more callers. We're going to end soon. My staff is like, I don't know, we got to go. Let's maybe like one more. Wait, Kevin, there you are again. What do you have to say?
Nah, you asked what Congress does, and I was letting you know that they're really good at sending our money overseas. Other than that, I don't think they've done much for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Someone's got another answer. I'm curious what that is.
Send money overseas. That's one thing that Congress does. Let's see. What's that? Aaron? Which one is Aaron? Aaron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, James.
Hey, Aaron, what is your thought?
So, I mean, back in the 1970s, Congress attempted what was called the Church Committee, named after a congressman, had nothing to do with churches, to try to rein in some of the excesses of the CIA, which were there from its very founding in the post-war years. I mean, the CIA essentially has had two functions from the very beginning. One of them is gathering intelligence supposedly for the president to make good decisions on behalf of the executive branch of government when it comes especially to foreign policy. But the other was sort of the operations side of the CIA, which is all the nefarious stuff that we think about when we think about the dark side of the American intelligence community. And those things were baked into it from the very beginning. In fact, Eisenhower, who was involved in the founding, was very concerned about that aspect. He never sort of reined it in, got a handle on it. The first founding director of the CIA, Allen Dulles, was probably a sociopath. His brother was Secretary of State, and between the two of them, staying in power through several administrations, they made a lot of friends politically in Washington and were able to exert a lot of control over sort of the domestic.
Sorry, sir. We just only got a few more seconds. So, if you could just summarize it in as little time as possible.
So the Church Committee tried to rein in the CIA in the 1970s
Since then, it is metastasized again. I think it's time for Congress to make an attempt to do that again. But the fact is, everyone in Congress is terrified of the intelligence community because they can get you, 7 different ways from Sunday, as one congressman recently put it. So none of them, I think, have the spine to stand up and exert.
Well, I guess the question is, why would you run for Congress unless you do have the spine? It should be a prerequisite to. Why would you even run unless you're willing to give up your life? I mean, that's my rule. I don't think you should run for office unless you're willing to die for your country. But then the more existential question becomes: it's not you they're going to go after; they're going to go after your family. And I think that the price of every man is going to be his children and his family, and that I understand, that I get. I don't know how to solve that one. That's a much deeper conversation. I think we got time for one more. Yeah, go ahead.
I can speak to that, and I also have the recording that you guys were looking for earlier of Mike Pompeo. 25 years ago, I started writing about this corruption in the Bush v. Gore election. Now, granted, I don't have anywhere near the publicity that you do, so trust me. When they come for you and you're a smaller person, they don't hide the way they do it, like they are going to be attacking you. So expect retribution. Myself, my family, my members of my legal team have been threatened. Each of us have even been driven off the road. Every digital device has been hacked, I historically contracted with Apple. I know how to troubleshoot and investigate digital anomalies. Cheryl Atkinson of CBS, once upon a time, can confirm and corroborate the attacks against journalists, including hacking of devices, as well as being set up and framed with pornography being placed on devices. So 100% steady resolve. You have a very good insight into what is happening. This is a spiritual journey. If you back down now, I don't think you'll ever be able to forgive yourself. And the retribution could actually increase. You don't have any control over that. So as far as the recording of Mike Pompeo is concerned, you let me know when you're ready to hear it. If you have any comments you want to make beforehand.
Well, I would say let's talk offline. I want to make sure I vet the recording, and I appreciate it, and I want to talk to you. We're completely out of time, and I think that was a very.
Well, this is the Mike Pompeo recording. This is directly from Mike Pompeo.
When I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It's like. We had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
Feel free to DM me, or I'm willing to answer.
Will do. I mean, and that's what the purpose of a spy is, to steal from another country. Shouldn't be stealing from Americans in this country. Shouldn't be spying on Americans in this country. And like you say, indirect retaliation. I mean, I think that that's really the issue at hand. Is joining forces, citizen journalists all around, being public, being transparent. They've, in summary, everyone, this is a story, and it's the CIA. The CIA has responded. They have apparently fired the individual. Deloitte, we're trying to get a statement from Deloitte still. The green badge, the green card CIA agent, no longer working there. Unbeknownst to him, blowing the whistle on what's happening. O'Keefe Media Group, with, I think, the biggest story we've ever broken. It's already got a few million views. You can find it on X. You can DM us. You can become a source. You can become a whistleblower. You can message us on Signal. I'm currently getting those messages. We have Matt Gaetz putting out a letter to Jim Jordan. We have a press secretary on the phone with me. We're going to put that video out here shortly. Stay tuned and have no fear. Have faith over fear. This is the beginning of a patriotic groundswell of citizen journalists. And the hunter has, I hope and I believe, the hunter has now become the investigated. They're now on the other side. And stay tuned until the week after next. We're in the field next week, so we will not be on the air. Every other week we'll be with you. Thank you, Mario, for hosting.